All right, welcome to Foundational Greek. And today we'll be going through Greek adjectives. Let's pull out this annotation here and let us get started. And what is an adjective? An adjective is a word or phrase naming an attribute. It is typically added to a noun to modify or to describe the noun. And adjectives in English can be categorized in three sections. One in attributive position, one in predicate position, and one the adjectives working as a substantive in sentence. And in Greek, adjectives also work in these three categories. Going first in English, the attributive position of an adjective is describing the noun, which in this example we have the holy man. Greek has something very similar with a very similar wording, and as hagios anthropos, or the holy man. Notice hagios is right after the definite article, but is before the noun. This is an indication that this adjective is being used in attributive position on describing the man. What's a little weird in Greek compared to English is that there could be a definite article before the adjective and before the noun, which is describing that the adjective is describing the said noun, since both the definite articles agree with each other. And last but not least, we can even have a case in which there's no definite articles before the adjective or the noun, and in this case it would be either the or a holy man. For predicate position, the predicate position makes the adjective act as the object of a sentence, which you have in this example, which is the man is holy. Now, how does this look like in Greek? In Greek, what's interesting is that it looks like a holy man, but instead of hagios being in between the definite article and the noun, we have the adjective after the noun, in which in this sentence described the man is holy. This can also be written with the adjective being written before the definite article, but the adjective doesn't have a definite article. And this means the same thing as we saw earlier. The man is holy. Notice that the definite article is with its presence of the definite article before the adjective, indicating how the adjective, or the lack of it, is indicating whether the adjective is being used in a predicate position or nominative position. And last but not least, the man is holy can also be written as hagios anthropos estin. If there's no definite articles, and our huge hint here is with this verb here, estin, and this verb is to be, or like he or she is in Greek. If you want to say this as you are, it'll be a versus I am as a may, which sort of reflects Jesus' statement of I am as ego e me. So what are the nature of Greek adjectives? As you had noticed earlier, is that Greek adjectives have endings similar to nouns. So in Greek, when an adjective modifies a noun, it must have the same gender, number, and case. And adjectives are defined in lexicons as the holy. As you see in hagios, we have the masculine. We have the masculine singular nominative, masculine, the feminine singular nominative, and we have the neuter singular nominative in the following of hagios, hagia, and hagion, which define as a holy. So, sometimes adjectives called compound adjectives have only two terminations, one for the masculine feminine modifier of a noun and one for a neuter modifier for the noun, as you see in this following word, anaxios or anaxion. Anaxios used for feminine or masculine nouns, while anaxion used for neuter nouns. This means unworthy. And last but not least, in English and in Greek, we have nouns that are modified by an adjective may be omitted from the sentence. An example of this can be found in the Star Spangled Banner, the land of the free and the home of the brave. These are also found in Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, Matthew 5:2. If a noun is omitted, the adjective modifying it becomes what is called a substantive, a word that undertakes the role of a noun, even though it is not a noun by nature. Sentences actually occur in Greek more in English, since Greek adjectives have endings specifying gender, number, or case. It has the ability by itself to convey ideas expressed by the nouns, meaning man, woman, things, etc. Our first example would be ho hagios. It could be ho anthropos hagios, but since the gender, number, or case indicates what is the adjective describing, we do not need to include anthropos, so ho hagios means holy man. Our second example would be tes hagies. Notice the feminine endings, or the plural dative feminine endings. So translate as to the holy woman. The third example will be hagia. Notice that there's no article, but you have an accusative or nominative plural neuter ending. So we translate this as holy things. And last but not least, we have to hagio. We have a genitive. Ending or neuter ending. In agreeing with hagiu, the genitive masculine or neuter ending of hagios. So we translate this as from the holy one or from the holy thing. Also, for a note of hagioi in the New Testament is commonly translated as saints or the holy ones. So overall, those are all the Greek rules for adjectives. And since I got extra time, I want to go through a slightly different topic, not related to Greek, but not Greek grammar, which is getting a lexicon or a Greek Bible to accommodate your learning in Greek. So when you're studying and reading Greek, having a lexicon along with a Greek Bible is a must to find and learn more about the texts and the individual words. And overall, here are some of my recommendations. And sort of my first recommendation, you want to save the most money, is to just get this Greek New Testament called a USB United Bible Society Greek New Testament with a dictionary. And sort of like the best reason to get this is that this is probably one of the most cheapest options that you could get. Getting a dictionary for all the Greek words, along with getting the text in the New Testament itself. So you have the text and the lexicon combined with being the cheapest option. And last but not least, this would be my most recommended text for going for word studies or going in depth in certain words in the New Testament. However, there's no such thing as a perfect text, and sort of the main problem with this with this text I'm showing you here is like it's not the best for reading, and at the same time might be overwhelming at first when reading through the text. The other option that you can sort of get is doing like a reader's edition, which is typically better reading through the text since they have definitions of rare words below the text, along with a more simpler lexicon. Second of all, since this is a lot better finding and looking at the basic definition of the words instead of going through a more in-depth study of the words. It'll be a lot easier to do more grammar studies in the text. However, as I mentioned earlier, the lexicons of these reader's editions are not in depth. So you won't actually do word studies. The second thing that I also want to say is that compared to the first text, these second texts won't have notes on possible textual variants on that happened in the scripture and history. And textual variants are different readings of the text. And last but not least, on these reader's editions can actually impede on learning vocabulary because it gives you a deception that you can read the text without learning the vocabulary. So if you ever get a reader's edition, I'll suggest getting a lexicon, and there's a lot of different lexicons out here. So the first one I'll show is the one to the farthest left is a Thayer's English Lexicon. Is the cheapest option probably of all of them. However, a lot of the info on it is a little dated, but it's still very useful. Versus the middle one, along the right one, is that we have a very in-depth lexicon around. Pretty much expensive as a college textbook, but gets the words more in depth. However, there's a less in-depth lexicon and a cheaper option available to the right. And things like last but least, I would recommend not investing in an interlinear Bible for the following reasons. And the first reason would be is that the terminology that the interlinears would show would be useless, especially would be useless if you do not know the Greek grammar. It will be relatively frivolous after you know the Greek grammar. Second of all, is like interlinear Bibles provide a gloss like a reader's edition, but does the case study, gender, etc. for the words, making reading through an interlinear very lazy and trusting on the interlinear's interpretation on the text instead of looking at the word yourself. Last but not least, interlinear Bibles do not challenge the reader to learn more Greek from the text. And having that, I already thank you for spending your time listening to this video, and honestly looking forward to seeing all your folks face to face and do some practice on adjectives.